that should raise a red flag for people. And what I found is that when most people hear me speak and hear the pro-vaccine side speak, they're intelligent enough to make up their own mind.
What is our best defense against disease?
Well, as far as fortifying our own immune systems, I believe this begins probably generations before we're even born, because there's a whole field now that's basically blossoming called epigenetics, which has to do with what's above the genome. It has to do with what our ancestors were exposed to, what kind of stresses they had, what they were eating, and what kind of disease susceptibilities we have. So we basically, what we do has an effect upon what our children's susceptibility will be. I think this is very pronounced during the period of pregnancy. And I'm very alarmed by the fact that pregnant women are now being recommended to get influenza vaccines and whooping cough vaccines, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus vaccines while they're pregnant. I'm very alarmed by that because the immune system begins during pregnancy. In addition to that, once an infant is born, there's a whole process in the birth that has to do with the immune system. Human beings do something that no other animal does, and that is we immediately clamp the cord when the baby is being born. There's no other animal that does that. It actually doesn't make any biological sense. And what we're essentially doing is depriving that newborn baby of 1/3 of its blood volume, of stem cells that that baby needs. The placenta is packed with stem cells, and that's basically a stem cell transfusion. And scientists are just beginning to understand all of the other benefits of allowing that flow into the baby. This is the way humanity and all mammals were actually designed for the birth process. So why are we clamping the cord immediately? That needs to be questioned, because that has long-term effects as far as immunity goes onto children. It has effects onto anemia, stem cell transfusions, and basically those stem cells are able to go in and mop up damage that occurred. After the baby is born, should be put immediately to the breast, nothing in between. So the immune system begins going down the vaginal tract, getting the first swallow of probiotics. A C-section deprives that baby of that beginning of immunity. There's so much that has to do with normal microbes that live in our bodies, and this is very important. I think one of the most important factors in our immunity that's leading people to believe that they need vaccines is that we are not cultivating the microbes that we need. We're not giving ourselves the probiotics that we need throughout life. We're deprived of them at birth. We're deprived of activated T cells, immune globulins, and probiotics that come through breast milk. A breastfed baby is completely different as far as what their stool component is to a formula-fed baby. Those things are very important foundations, and the foundations of anything, whether it's a building or whether it's a human being, are extremely important and much more important, in my opinion, than fighting disease with vaccines. And I'd really like to see more of a focus there, and really educating parents and mothers as to why they should breastfeed and how long they should exclusively do it for. Because if they understood what they're giving those babies with that breast milk, they would be much more motivated to do it than just hearing, well, it's just better. And most doctors don't actually understand all the components that are in breast milk, and scientists are continuously discovering more benefits of breastfeeding. It has to do with higher IQs, lower type 1 diabetes, better immunity in the long run. So that's the foundation. After that has to do with nutrition. If a mother's eating poorly, her breast milk is not as high quality. If a child, when they start eating, is eating chemicals and high rates of sugar and carbohydrates and not enough fresh fruits and vegetables, their mitochondria aren't getting the power that they need to have to sustain an immune system. They're not getting the vitamins and the minerals that they need for good, strong bones and an immune system. Those things are very important. I think birth and nutrition, primarily the most important things. Then we have supplements. I like vitamin C because it's something that as mammals, as human beings, I should say, we don't make. Human beings, primates, and guinea pigs don't synthesize our own vitamin C. Even though we have the entire mechanism there, there's one gene for an enzyme that's defective. So we have to get that in our food. And because of the toxins and the viruses and the food that we're exposed to now and the levels of stress that most of us are exposed to, that consumes vitamin C. And because vitamin C is a necessary factor for immune function, we're all in need of it. There's no known toxic dose of vitamin C. There's never been a death from vitamin C. There are some mild potential downside to vitamin C in very high doses that people who are using it need to be aware of. but people need more education on the use of sodium ascorbate, because I have firsthand experience with it in the pediatric population and how incredibly effective it is in calming the cough of whooping cough. I have had dozens of parents consult me because they had heard on the news how deadly whooping cough is. I've had anywhere from newborns up to 64-year-old people consulting me, terrified that they've developed whooping cough or that their children have developed whooping cough. The first thing I have to do is calm down their fear. The second thing I have to do is get them on high enough levels of sodium ascorbate. Within 24 to 48 hours, those parents are relaxed. The babies do fine. The toddlers do fine. Can anybody say that about an antibiotic? What do antibiotics do? They destroy the normal gut flora, which is part of our immune system, and that's another burgeoning arm of science, is how our gut flora is actually part and parcel with our immune system. Even that goes with the mother too. That, you know, the lining of the intestine in the mother is lined with these things called Peyer's patches, and they hypertrophy when she's breastfeeding because her body is taking what she's eating and the bacteria in her system into her system and out into the breast milk that educates that baby what's bacteria that's good and beneficial, what's disease and what's not, and basically educating that baby's thymus and their immune system. So the bacteria in our bodies, on our skin, in our throats, the proper balance of those bacteria in conjunction with a functional immune system is the best defense against any disease, period.